10 Powerful Tips to Grow a Thriving Monstera. A complete guide for plant lovers. Hey there, plant lovers. Welcome back to Earthly Delights, the cozy corner where we share practical tips and real stories to help your indoor jungle thrive. Today, we're diving into one of the most beloved houseplants out there, the stunning, iconic Monstera. I know many of you watching are passionate about filling your homes with vibrant greenery. Whether you're a new plant parent or someone who's already turned your living room into a mini rainforest, you're in the right place. Have you ever wondered why your Monstera just won't get those beautiful fenestrations, those dreamy holes and slits in the leaves that flood Instagram feeds? Trust me, you're not alone. So many of us have been there, impatiently staring at those plain green leaves, asking, what am I doing wrong? But guess what? It's not you. With the right care, your Monstera will reward you, and I'm going to show you how. In today's video, I'm sharing 10 powerful tips to help your Monstera grow faster, healthier, and yes, full of those gorgeous fenestrations you crave. And stick with me, because tip number 7 is a total game changer that most plant owners overlook. So, before we jump in, if you love learning practical tips for your indoor garden, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to Earthly Delights. Your support helps us keep sharing expert advice to make your plant journey easier and way more fun. Alright, ready to turn your Monstera into a showstopper? Let's grow together. Alright, plant lovers, let's dive in. If you've ever stared at your Monstera, wondering why it's not sprouting those beautiful holes and slits, let me tell you, you're not alone. So many indoor plant enthusiasts, just like you, feel frustrated when their Monstera stays leafy and plain. But here's the truth. Fenestrations come with time and care. Young Monsteras are like shy toddlers. They take a while before they show their true personality. So, if your leaves are still solid, don't panic. It's not a failure, it's just nature. Your Monstera isn't ready to grow up yet. And that's okay. But here's the exciting part. You can help your plant reach that mature, stunning look faster. Think of it this way. Monsteras develop fenestrations as they grow older and stronger. Just like people gain wisdom with experience, Monsteras gain those iconic holes with age. And I get it, waiting isn't easy. But stick with me, because in the next few tips, you'll learn exactly how to nurture your plant so it hits those growth milestones sooner. Plus, there's a common mistake that could be holding your Monstera back. Don't worry. We'll cover that in just a moment. Ready to unlock your Monstera's potential? Let's move on to tip number 2, where a little trim can make all the difference. Now, let's talk about pruning, because, trust me, this is where many plant parents get it wrong. I know some of you are nervous about cutting your plant, afraid you'll hurt it or set back its growth. But here's the truth. Smart pruning can supercharge your Monstera's growth. So, what should you prune? Start with those tiny, sucker leaves near the base. You know, those little leaves that seem to hang around doing nothing. They're not bad, but they're like guests who've overstayed their welcome, taking energy from the main stems that should be growing those big, beautiful fenestrated leaves. But here's the key. Don't touch the main stems unless you're propagating. Cutting the main stem sets your Monstera back to square one. Like restarting a video game after reaching level 10. You'll get fresh growth, but it'll be young, small, and fenestration-free. Think of your Monstera like a fine wine. It only gets better with age. Every new node on an old stem is closer to producing those prized holes and splits. So, unless you want more baby plants, let those stems age gracefully. And one more thing, prune early. Don't wait until your plant becomes a tangled mess. A little trim today means stronger, bigger leaves tomorrow. In the next tip, I'll show you a simple trick that can literally double your Monstera's growth. No fancy tools required. Stay with me. Alright, plant lovers, let's talk about support. If you want those iconic, massive Monstera leaves, here's a secret. Don't let your plant sprawl, let it climb. Monsteras are natural climbers. In the wild, they don't just sit in a pot, they cling to trees, reaching upward for sunlight. And when they climb, their leaves get bigger and fuller, with those gorgeous fenestrations we all crave. So, what's the best support? You don't need a fancy moss pole, anything sturdy will do. A wooden plank, a bamboo stick, even a branch from your garden. Just start early, because trying to stake a mature Monstera is like convincing a grumpy grandpa to try yoga. It's not pretty. And here's a pro tip. Tie your Monstera's stems loosely, especially the aerial roots. Think of them like little explorers looking for something to grip. Help them find the pole or plank. And watch your plant grow faster and stronger. Oh, and don't tie up the newest leaf. That's where new growth happens, you don't want to block its path. By the way, many plant parents skip this step and wonder why their Monstera stays small. But not you, because you're learning how to make your Monstera thrive. Next up, we're unlocking the most important growth secret, one that can make or break your plant's success. Ready? Let's keep growing. Alright, plant lovers. Here's the truth. Light is the single most important factor for your Monstera's growth. And I know what some of you are thinking, but I water it. I feed it, why won't it grow? Well, because it's craving more light. Here's the deal, Monsteras love bright, indirect light. The more light they get, the faster they grow and the more fenestrations they produce. Think of it like this, no light, no holes, simple. So, where should you place it? The best spot is near an east or west facing window. But if your home is short on sunlight, don't worry. A good grow light works wonders. And trust me, it's worth it. I've seen Monsteras go from plain to picture perfect just by fixing their lighting. Here's a fun test. Get down to your plant's level, yes. On your knees. Can your Monstera see the sky from where it's sitting? If not, move it closer. But here's a mistake I see all the time. People tuck their Monstera in a dark corner, hoping it'll adjust. Spoiler alert, it won't. Without light, your plant will just sit there, sulking. And here's the best part, get the lighting right, and you'll start seeing new leaves with fenestrations faster than you think. But lighting alone isn't enough, because what if I told you, your Monstera has hidden potential underground? In the next tip, I'll show you how to unlock it. Now, let's talk about those strange, rope-like things. Yes, I mean aerial roots. If you've ever wondered, what on earth are these for? And should I cut them off? Hold on. Because these little guys are actually key to your Monstera's growth. In the wild, aerial roots help Monsteras climb trees and absorb moisture from the air. But indoors, they're your secret weapon for faster, stronger growth. Here's what you shouldn't do, don't cut them. I know they can look a bit messy. But hear me out. Aerial roots can actually feed your Monstera by absorbing nutrients if you guide them into the soil. So, here's a simple trick. Gently tuck those roots down into the potting mix. It's like giving your plant an extra set of straws to drink water and nutrients. And guess what? You'll get bigger leaves and stronger stems in return. I've seen viewers, just like you, go from stunted growth to stunning plants just by using this hack. And if a root is heading in the wrong direction, no problem. Just guide it back towards the soil. Now, if you really want your Monstera to explode with growth, you've got to pair this trick with the right soil mix. And that's exactly what we're tackling next, because bad soil could be silently killing your plant's potential. Let's fix that. So, you've got the light, you're guiding those aerial roots. But let me ask you, what's beneath your Monstera's feet? Because here's the truth. The wrong soil can slow your plant down, or worse, rot its roots before you even see a new leaf. Now, I get it. When you bought your Monstera, it probably came in that heavy, store-bought soil, and maybe you thought, hey, soil is soil, right? But nope, Monsteras are aroids, which means they hate soggy feet. If your soil stays wet for too long, you're basically drowning the roots, and that means no growth. So, here's the fix. Think of your soil like a luxury hotel for roots, airy, chunky, and just the right amount of cozy. I always use a chunky mix with bark, perlite, and cocoa coir. It drains quickly but still holds enough moisture for those roots to drink up. And trust me, I've seen plant lovers, just like you, transform their struggling Monsteras into leaf-producing machines just by switching to the right mix. Plus, with better drainage, you'll avoid those nasty problems like root rot and fungus gnats. But hey, I know some of you are thinking, do I really need a fancy mix? And here's my answer. If you want those iconic fenestrations, yes, it's not just about keeping the roots healthy, it's about unlocking your plant's potential from the ground up. So, now you've got the perfect soil. But what about watering? Because, believe me, even with perfect soil, if you get watering wrong, your Monstera's growth will stall. And there's one watering mistake that I see all the time. Let's fix that next. So, You've got the perfect chunky soil. But here's the million-dollar question. When do you water? Because, let's be honest, overwatering has killed more monsteras than anything else. And I get it. We love our plants. So we think giving them more water means more love. But with monsteras, too much love can turn into trouble. Here's the secret. Your monstera wants a drink, not a bath. It loves deep, occasional watering, but only when the top 2 inches of soil are dry. So before you reach for that watering can, pause. Stick your finger into the soil. Or use a moisture meter if you're fancy. If it's still damp, wait. But here's something most plant owners don't realize. How you water matters just as much as when. Instead of just dumping water on top, try bottom watering. It's simple. Place your pot in a tray of water and let the roots drink from below. This encourages stronger, deeper roots, so your plant grows taller, fuller, and faster. Oh, and one more thing, consistency is key. I know life gets busy, work, errands, Netflix binges, but if you water your monstera on a random schedule, it gets stressed. A happy monstera thrives on routine. So find a rhythm that works, maybe every 7 to 10 days, and stick to it. And if you've ever had yellow leaves and thought, oh no, I killed it, don't panic. 1 or 2 yellow leaves. Totally normal. It's just your plant shedding old growth. But if your plant's throwing a full-on yellow tantrum, check your watering habits. So, now you know how to water like a pro. But here's something most people forget, air matters too. That's right, your monstera craves a little tropical magic, and we're bringing that vibe home next. Let's talk humidity, warmth, and creating a space where your plant feels right at home. Alright, plant lovers. Now let's talk about something your monstera feels even if you can't see it. The air around it. You see, monsteras are born in the tropics. They love warm days, cozy nights, and air that feels just a little humid. So, if your home feels more like a desert than a jungle, we've got a problem. But don't worry, you don't need to turn your living room into a sauna. Just aim for what I call the Goldilocks zone, not too hot, not too cold, somewhere between 65 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit, 18 to 29 degrees Celsius. And here's something most people don't realize, monsteras hate sudden chills. So keep them away from drafty windows or blasting AC units. Now, let's talk humidity. You see those crispy, brown leaf edges? That's your monstera whispering, I need more moisture in the air. Ideally, they love 60% humidity or more, but if your home's on the dry side, here's what you can do. First, if you can, get a humidifier. It's the easiest way to give your plant that tropical vibe. But if you're not ready for that, try grouping your plants together. It's called the buddy system, and it helps create a tiny microclimate, like a little rainforest on your windowsill. Or here's my favorite budget-friendly trick, pebble trays. Just place some stones in a shallow dish. Fill it with water, and set your pot on top. As the water evaporates, your monstera gets a little humidity boost, no extra gadgets needed. And if you're thinking, can't I just mist my plant? Well, you can. But here's the thing. Misting feels nice for a second, but it evaporates fast. It's like giving your plant a quick hug, sweet, but not enough. What your monstera really wants is consistent moisture in the air, not a fleeting spritz. So, here's your game plan, warmth, stable humidity, and no cold drafts, and your monstera will reward you with bigger, lusher leaves. But now that we've nailed the perfect environment, let's talk about what not to do. Because one common habit could be confusing your plant and slowing its growth. And trust me, you've probably done it without even realizing. Let's fix that next. Now, let me tell you something that might surprise you. Sometimes, the best thing you can do for your monstera is nothing at all. I get it. When you're passionate about your plants, it's tempting to fuss over them. You want to rotate them for even growth, move them to catch the light, or reposition them every few days. But here's the truth, monsteras hate being micromanaged. In the wild, they grow towards one direction, up, toward the sunlight. Their leaves stretch and orient themselves naturally. But when you keep twisting and turning your plant, you're confusing it. The stems start twisting, the leaves face random directions, and your monstera ends up looking, well, messy. So here's my advice. Pick a spot and commit. Let your monstera face one direction, especially if it's near a wall. Over time, it will reward you with a beautiful, balanced shape. all the leaves facing forward like a spotlight on stage. And speaking of leaves, here's another habit that many plant owners forget: clean them. Monsteras are like solar panels, they absorb energy through their leaves. But if those leaves are covered in dust, it's like trying to sunbathe under a blanket: zero energy, zero growth. So, every few weeks, give those leaves a gentle wipe with a damp cloth. It's a little love that goes a long way. Plus, clean leaves shine, making your Monstera look like it's straight out of a magazine. So, less fussing, more trust, because sometimes growth happens when we step back. But we're not done yet, because before you let your Monstera live its best life, there's one more piece to the puzzle. And it's the foundation of everything. So let's talk about what's beneath the surface, the soil. But more importantly, what's feeding it. So, you got the light, the humidity, the perfect soil, but what about food? Because here's the truth: even the best soil can't feed your Monstera forever. Think about it: every time you water, nutrients slowly wash away, and without replenishment, your Monstera is starving for the energy it needs to produce those gorgeous fenestrations. So, let's talk fertilizer, your plant's power boost. During spring and summer, the growing season, I recommend feeding your Monstera once a month with a balanced liquid fertilizer. Look for something with equal parts nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, the holy trinity for strong stems, healthy roots, and bigger leaves. But here's something many plant owners get wrong: they overfeed. More fertilizer doesn't mean faster growth. It's like overloading a plate at an all-you-can-eat buffet. Your plant will get overwhelmed, and you'll burn its roots. So, remember, less is more. A light, monthly feed during the growing season is perfect. And in fall and winter, let your Monstera rest. And if you're wondering, can't I just rely on the soil? Well, fresh soil does help. I always recommend repotting your Monstera every 1 to 2 years with a nutrient-rich mix. But between repottings, fertilizer keeps the growth steady and those leaves lush and full. Oh, and one more thing. If you see new leaves but no fenestrations, your Monstera might be missing calcium or magnesium. So, every few months, try adding a little seaweed extract or Epsom salts to your watering routine. It's a simple boost that helps your plant grow stronger leaves with those iconic splits and holes. So now, with the perfect balance of light, water, air, and nutrients, your Monstera has everything it needs to thrive. But here's the real magic: what happens when you step back and watch it grow? So, there you have it. 10 powerful tips to transform your Monstera from small and shy to bold, beautiful, and full of fenestrations. But here's the thing: growth takes time. Your Monstera won't become Instagram famous overnight. And that's okay, because every new leaf is a little victory. Every fenestration is a reward for your patience. And every moment you spend nurturing it is a moment of joy. And if there's one thing I know, it's that you've got this. Whether you're a seasoned plant parent or just starting your green journey, your Monstera will teach you the most important lesson of all: growth happens when you show up. Stay patient and trust the process. So, if you found these tips helpful, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to Earthly Delights. We're building a community where plant lovers, just like you, can grow, learn, and celebrate every leaf together. Until next time, keep growing, keep glowing, and let your earthly delights flourish. See you in the next video.